Hi, it's Square Ruth. That's my nickname and that's my show. Today we have my friend Katie Augustyn. Katie and I met 10 years ago, and she's going to tell you something about how to maximize your potential and get to know your true self and let that self help other people and do really well in this world. And today Katie's going to tell you how she discovered a new calling for herself in the field of spirituality. Katie is now a shaman, which to me is something magnificent. Wait till she tells you about that. Katie, tell me about spirituality.
Oh, thank you, Ruth. It's really a pleasure to be here, and we've had that connection, that spiritual connection, ever since we met.
It's true.
What I feel like, because we are spiritual beings in bodies. So I think I was really missing a strong spiritual connection in my life, and I didn't know that, but I felt like something was missing. And when I discovered, it was about 12 years ago, when I met Rada, or Kathy French, who I consider my mentor, and she was teaching a course on energy healing. It's called One Light Healing Touch. And through taking that course and learning how to become a healer, I also learned a lot about myself and what was missing, and that's what was missing, was a strong spiritual connection. So that's how it all started. So I guess that was maybe a little bit before I met you.
Well,
around the same time, probably.
Yeah, and then you and Kathy, or Rada, did a workshop that I went to.
That's right.
And that was a very powerful session. I remember being guided to find my true self.
Yeah.
We are in this world as just, we think we are our bodies, but these are just vehicles we go through life with. And our true self, I learned that night, is just so magnificent.
Yeah.
Our soul, which was what some people would call it, but our true self is really magnificent, and we are here to connect with each other and bring our light to the world. And that really opened me up. I will never forget that feeling, like I encountered who I truly am at that workshop. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I remember that was an amazing experience for you, and it really just opened things up for you, I felt.
Very
like
much.
It just opened your heart, because, my belief is that God or Spirit is in all of us already, and so it's really just a matter of accessing it and becoming more aware of it. And one way to do that is to clear out some of our issues that have affected us sometimes our whole lives that we're not even aware of. Because I think we come into the world as just a perfect soul or perfect human, and then things kind of get layered on top of us, just the real world is out there, so it's culture, it's other people's values, sometimes it's what happens in our family growing up. There are a lot of things that kind of take us away from our true self.
Yeah, we all have traumas of some kind when we're small. And, I think if we can get in touch with our strength, we can use them to help ourselves become even stronger. Or you can fall apart never dealing with it. But it sounds like a connection to God. Not everybody uses the idea of God, but we all have spirituality in us. And I read in stuff that you wrote for me that it's compatible with different religions and how people see God as just the Force, from Star Wars. May the Force be with you. I remember that in 1997, going to the first Star Wars movie, I said, that's a great metaphor for religion that people can connect with.
Yeah. No, it's true, because it's not, it's universal, really. It's not one.
Wait, 1977.
Oh, right.
Yes, all right, sorry.
Going way back.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because it is a universal force. It's also could be called a life force. That's another way of looking at it for people who don't believe in God. You don't even have to believe in God or a higher power, but it's part of us. I mean, it's what makes us who we are.
Yeah.
But it's not only in humans. I believe it's in everything.
Yeah.
And we're all connected. In fact, I also believe that not only are we all connected, and not just humans, but everything in the universe, but also we're all one.
Yeah, with energy, everything is made of atoms. Even this table is more space than matter because of all the forces between the atoms. We all have vibrations. We're all made of energy.
Yeah, it's all energy.
Yeah. And you can block your energy. You can block the energy between you and others,
Yeah.
or you can let it flow.
Yeah, also known as chi in another.
The chi.
Yeah, and that's what we use as energy healers. We allow people through us. We're like the facilitator, but it comes from spirit. Allows us to unblock blocked energy, which is held in our systems, unbeknownst to us most of the time, and that's what can cause us difficulties in not achieving our goals. Maybe feeling depressed. It manifests in various ways. So what we can do as energy healers is help unblock that throughout all the chakras in our system. We can unblock each one, and that's how you really become who you are and manifest what you want in your life.
Energy healing and chakras. Many people don't know about those words. I've come to know something about them. It's just a magnificent thing to be aware of. Can you say more about that?
We all have different. It's an energy center in your body, and there's major ones. There's 8 major ones, and then there's a lot of minor ones. I don't know how much detail you want to get into.
I just know 8 major ones.
But I would say get if anybody watching is interested, I would say just do some research on it, because it's very fascinating to learn. And you can do it. You can learn how to clear yourself. Start to learn how once you're aware of what's going on within your body.
Healing yourself.
Sure.
Because when you said clear yourself, to me
clearing, it's healing.
That's healing.
Well, our body, we all have within us what we need. So we do actually heal ourselves. So like I said, the energy healer is just the facilitator, but we are healing ourselves. Yeah. So it helps to have somebody assist, in that facilitating of it. But our bodies know what they need to do, and we just allow them to do it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I remember telling you about a massage that I had years ago, and you said, yeah, that's part of this. It was just a regular massage. And I just remembered when she touched my calves and massaged there, I started to cry. I felt that it was reaching something in me from a long time ago that I don't know, I had no idea that it mattered so much to me, and I just cried. I said, hey, I'm crying. She says, that happens. She said, you'd be amazed. As a massage therapist, I run into that a lot.
Yeah.
And you do have these things in yourself that you have no idea are there.
Right. It's in our unconscious. But no, that's fabulous, because what you did was a major release. What she tapped into or triggered was something that was deep inside of embedded in you, and you released. And so when releasing, a lot of times we, depending on where it is in our body, we might cough, we might cry, we might, sometimes for me, when I do releasing, I start laughing. It's just weird. It's like comes out of nowhere, but it's such a release that all that pent-up energy can just go somewhere, and then it just dissipates, it goes back, and it's recycled. And so there's a lot of releasing techniques that I teach my clients that are, it's breath work. You can use your breath, and you just come up through your whole body. When you inhale, you start at your toes, you go all the way up, you use your whole stomach area, everything, and then you just release it out. And if you have the intention, so it's all about having the intention of releasing, and you can actually visualize that energy going out, it does. I mean, it's all about the intention. And so if it's stuck, like it could happen. Like for example, today, if you know, I hit some traffic coming over here, and I'm a little, you know, like, okay, this is traffic, and sometimes you might get triggered by that and say, oh my gosh, I'm going to be late, blah, blah, blah. You know, you start telling yourself these stories. If you just take a deep breath and then release it, you just feel so much better, so much calmer. So you can use it every day.
The idea of the breath, breathing with your, starting with your toes and all the way up, it's not just a lung thing. I was taught that years ago.
Yeah?
That if you have pain, you can breathe into the area where you have pain. Like if your knee hurts,
Yeah.
I was taught that when you breathe in, pretend that your breath is going into where your knee hurts, and pretend there are vent holes there, and you breathe into it and let the air whoosh out your knee, which is strange. But
Yeah.
really, you can help your pain, you can help heal.
That's a form of healing.
Yeah. I taught that to an athlete that I was working with. I was his tutor. I said, now this is one technique that I use. And he played lacrosse. And he said, I have to tell you, that works. Because, you know, athletes
great.
are always in pain.
Yeah,
and
sure.
he said, that was a wonderful, your breath can help heal
Can
you.
heal you.
Golly.
It's prana,
Prana.
you know, so it's all
Oh, man.
helpful.
All right, now, you are a shaman. Tell me what that means.
Yeah, you know, I don't consider myself a shaman per se, and I'm not sure what the distinction is, but I am a shamanic practitioner.
Oh, well,
so I've
all right.
learned, I don't know what the distinction is, if there is one. But since I'm still sort of new at it, I feel like maybe I haven't graduated to that, you know, being a shaman. But I learned from a shaman and you know, a medicine woman, and so I do shamanic healings, and it is such a powerful modality that it's really my favorite thing to do right now. And people, I see the benefit like immediately. It's very powerful. It is a form of energy healing in the sense that it's extraction healing, but there's more to it than that, because you journey. So you're journeying to another world, so to speak. You know, there's a different dimension that you enter into when you do a journey.
From what I know of that, you meditate into it.
It's a form of meditation. It involves drumming. Yeah, so the drumming helps you. It's an altered state, so the drumming brings you into that altered state, and every shamanic practitioner has his or her own drum, and the drum is infused with the spirit of the drum. That's part of the training that we go through. And when you drum, it's medicine drumming. So it's a literal process where the drumming, the beat, you know, clears out your system, your energy. So it's a healing modality in and of itself, the medicine drumming. But further than that, when we go on a journey for our clients, we can see things in that altered state that we can't see in everyday reality. So we can bring back things for them, such as their power animal. We can retrieve their power animal. We can do soul retrievals, where we bring back a piece of their soul that left sometime during their lifetime for various reasons. It's usually some kind of something that was perceived as traumatic, or just an experience that was painful, and that part of their soul couldn't handle the pain at that time in their life, so that it broke off. Like, picture like a jigsaw puzzle, where when you're complete, the puzzle is all the pieces are there. But when a little piece is missing, there's holes in it. So what we can do is retrieve that and bring it back to you. And then you're able to bring it back to your heart and welcome it. You say, welcome home, I love you. And it brings back the power that left, because it's a loss of power. When you experience severe pain, it's a loss of power. So it brings back then you're complete. And you know, there's usually more than one piece that's missing, so it's a process over time. You know, you can't do it all at once, let's put it that way, in one healing. So it's a very powerful way for people to heal and become their best selves.
Gee.
Yeah,
And
would love
you
it.
keep seeing this, which is beautiful for you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not everyone believes in anything like this happening. Everything has to be cut and dried. I see it, and that's it. But there's a whole world of this stuff going on that, you know, why not be open to it?
Yeah.
I mean,
absolutely. Well, you know the saying that, well, I'll believe it when I see it, but the real saying is that you see what you believe.
yeah. There's a Wayne Dyer book. I saw the title, and he titled the book, You'll See It When You Believe It. And oh, that spoke to me.
Yeah.
Because if you deny your goodness or deny your power or deny your calling, you know, that's a choice on your part.
Then you can't see it, right?
Right, and you're blind to it. Why be blind to it? Why not be open to it?
Why not be open?
Golly.
Yeah, and my other favorite saying is that when you change the way you're looking at something, that something changes.
Yeah. I learned that.
Yeah.
Wayne Dyer said that in one of his TV shows. Ian Van Sant has said that.
Yeah, I think it was Eckhart Tolle.
Eckhart Tolle says that. All the big names.
Yeah, and that was one of the first things. The other thing that I've been doing for a couple of years now is spiritual leadership training. And I'm not the trainer. I'm partaking in the class, and it's an ongoing course. And that was one of the first things that I learned. And even though we kind of know that, I didn't really. It wasn't like part of me until that happened.
When you change
the way you're looking at something, that something changes. And we started looking for examples, you know, and then it becomes part of your everyday life. That's what's so cool about it, is once you incorporate it into your being, you know, like you really embrace it, it will change your life.
That reminds me of the saying, what you think is coming at you may instead be coming from you. The way you're looking at something is participating in the trouble you're having. If you change the way you are, that can affect what's out there.
Right.
And how powerful that is.
And that's all we can change.
Yes.
Is ourselves.
Right.
You know, we're constantly changing, whether we know it or not. We're evolving. But if we're conscious of it, if we're consciously evolving and, you know, improving or being our best selves, then that changes everything around us. I mean, I don't know if you've noticed, but when you've had a shift or you had a growth, something that you feel like you're, you know, evolving, and then somebody looks at you and they go, Ruthie, you know, wow, you're different, you know, and they want to be with you more, you know. Don't you find that people gravitate towards you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And a lot of it is just changing how you look at things. You can't just say, well, that's the way they are. Maybe that's the way I am. You know, they say what you can't stand on other people, look in the mirror because you do it.
Yes.
And you can say to someone, I've heard that saying, and find a really good friend and say, you know how I pick on so-and-so for such and such? Am I like that? And your friend will say, well, I didn't really want to tell you, but yeah, you have that in you too. And really, it helps. It helps people get along. You know, and if we can just share that with the world, you know, why not? They say if you have a light, don't hide it under a bushel basket.
Right.
Let it out there.
Right.
So these things are so important.
Yeah, and I'm so happy that you're doing this, because you are a light, and you are bringing more light into the world, and that's what I'm about too.
Thank you. Yeah, you are.
It's really. Helping people, you know, even if it's one person at a time, realize what they have to offer. Because, you know, the other training that I've done and that I practice with my clients a lot is transformation coaching. So that's about, you know, seeing the best in everybody and then bringing it out. You know, so it's more about allowing people to use their own power and their own resources, because they do have everything they need within them, but sometimes they don't realize that, or they forgot, you know. So it's really about asking those empowering questions that allow people to have the answers for themselves.
Yeah, it takes blocks away. We block ourselves. And when you can figure out how to ask the questions and help guide that out,
yeah.
people don't feel those blocks
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah. Sometimes it is about reframing, you know, like we were talking about earlier, about looking at something differently. Because I think, you know, we start telling ourselves stories when things happen to us when we're younger. You know, like something happens, but then we make up this story about it. You know, like an example I had from when I was younger is, you know, my mother was on the telephone and I tried to get her attention. I want to ask her a question or do something for me. And she's like, no, don't bother me right now, I'm on the phone. And so my interpretation of that was, my mother doesn't have time for me because I'm not worthy. So then that takes me through my whole life with that story in my head, I'm not worthy.
People live like that. And you said Eckhart Tolle before. I heard him on TV.
Yeah.
And he said, anytime you're describing anything from the past or the future, it's a story. It's not real. The only thing that's real is right now. Right here, right now. That's all that's real.
That's perfect.
Everything else is how you describe it, how you frame it, how you choose to frame it.
Yeah.
And you could just as well choose something that feels good as something that hurts you.
Right.
So why not choose to frame it in a positive way and let go of it? I mean, really, this stuff that you're getting people to see can help a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know, think of all the people we know that are trapped with negativity. You know?
Yeah, people that we know and love.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's what. Yeah, I'm trying to heal my whole family.
Are you? Ah.
And it's working. It's working.
Well, good.
Yeah.
I have a fond memory of you with your little boy, taking him to every Minds in Motion in the state. Minds in Motion is one of these, it's a program for gifted children. And it runs on Saturdays.
For all children.
For all children,
Whether,
okay.
Yeah.
And it's in Connecticut, and they run in the fall and in the spring, and they're all over Connecticut, and you made sure you took your little boy, Will, to every single one.
He loved it.
Yeah, and that's so empowering, you know, to have children open up like that. That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it's you know, it's about the possibilities, and that's the other thing that I'm really big on, is just opening up possibilities for myself, for everybody, you know, for the children, the gifted children. And that was one reason I was very interested in that population for so long, you know, and it was about 20 years that I, you know, volunteered really with the Gifted, Connecticut Association for the Gifted.
Yeah.
Because there's so many kids who are left out, even though they're very intelligent or have different kinds of talents. The schools don't necessarily see that, especially some of the urban communities where they're just trying to, you know, do the best they can. They don't have the resources that some of our suburban communities have.
Yeah.
So I spend a lot of time, and I still do. I'm still committed to that.
Like You'll never stop that.
No, and I do a lot of work in Bridgeport for those kids, because it really means a lot. And I've seen how, you know, their eyes light up. I've seen how their parents are like, oh, wow, you know, this is possible. You know, look at all these opportunities. It just opens so much for them. So yeah, you're right. I'm still committed to that.
Oh yeah. Well, that word possibility is so important, because as we're talking and you think about all the things that affect you and affect your personality and how you think, you know, you say, well, who am I? I don't mean the higher self. I mean the regular everyday self that, you know, goes through life. But you can't just say, I have all these memories that are affecting me now. You have a possibility in you, and you can exist as possibility.
Yes.
Rather than exist as all my hang-ups and worries and achievements and failures and all that. Those are all stories. But to exist as a possibility of freedom or hope or love or light, to help others, to exist as that possibility is so much more powerful than to describe yourself in all the other terms that you might choose. Yeah. It opens up the door.
That's beautiful. That's perfect. Yeah, and you can create possibilities too. You know, like we are so powerful, we don't even know how powerful we are.
That's true.
You know, it's great. We're a choice, and that's the key thing.
Wow. Well, all right. For all you listeners out there, If you want more of this kind of thinking, contact Katie. Her information's on the screen. I mean, really, your world can open up if you start thinking this way. I can see my own world opening up from the way I used to be, and it's just a beautiful feeling, you know, to help yourself see your possibilities. All right, we have a couple of minutes left. What else do they need to know from you?
Oh, wow. What else do they need to know? Well, I would say just start looking for, you know, there's a lot of resources online, and, you know, I'm not the only person who does this, clearly. There's a whole network of practitioners. I mean, I live in Fairfield County, Connecticut, so we have a network down there. It's called TLC Network. TLC? It used to stand for Total Life Care, I believe, but it's now just TLC.
All right.
And it's a tribe at TLC. And it was expanded actually into Westchester County, New York recently. So there's holistic health practitioners, and that involves, you know, spiritual energy healers, it involves coaches, it involves holistic, you know, doctors, you know, all sorts of people. So I would say look in your area. There's a little magazine called Natural Awakenings, which is just a little paper. It comes out monthly, and it's free, and you can get it in health food stores. I mean, I think even Whole Foods might have it, a lot of places.
Stop and Shop even, I've seen it, those magazines can open doors for you. You say, oh, that's New Age. Well, it might be a New Age just for you.
Right. A New Age is here.
Yes, it is.
We just have to take advantage of it, you know, and it's really about, you know, like you said, reaching your potential, being your best self, helping other people evolve, healing the planet. We're getting ready to start a new venture.
All right. Can you see why I brought Katie in here today? Well, this is wonderful for you, and I hope you take advantage of it.